Hello and welcome to Respawn Console Repair. Today we got a Series X Cyberpunk edition that needs a HDMI port replaced on it. I've never had to do a Series X HDMI port before because they're usually just tanks. I've changed a bunch of the HDMI encoders on them, but I've never had to actually change the HDMI port because usually they don't get damaged, or at least I don't ever see them get damaged. But alright, so we're gonna just do a full tear down and replace the HDMI port. So alright, here we go. So the first thing I want to do is power it on. Make sure it turns on and off like it's supposed to. So here we go. Oh, that's a neat sound. Okay. It looks like it's starting up like it should. And there it shut down like it should. Alright, cool. Alright, so to take these apart, there's two screws right here. There's one that's got a sticker on it we gotta get rid of. And just try to peel it up a little bit just to get the screw out and leave the rest. There's that one. Okay, now these can be a little tricky, so you slide it forward a bit and then lift one side, and then you gotta kind of finagle the other side here. Sometimes it just doesn't want to come off like you want to. Come on, there we go. Alright, we'll set that top to the side. And we will go ahead and start taking some screws out. Let's take this front panel off first. It's got a little ribbon in front here. So right there, be very careful of that because you can easily damage that. So we flip that little latch there. Try to get our tweezers. Sometimes this works, but sometimes you gotta take the panel off and just, we'll try that. We'll take the panel off. Make it a little easier to get to. Pull it straight forward because there's a plug. You got a plug right here. And then should be enough ribbon to lift up and pull that ribbon out. So you got the plug on the back, and then that ribbon plugs in right there. So we'll set that one to the side. Go ahead and turn it. We'll get this other Wi-Fi board off. Very dirty Wi-Fi board. It's alright, we'll clean everything up. so now I'll go ahead and remove all these screws here, starting with these two short ones. This is the USB connection, so you're going to pop that up because it's a very small little plug right there. So just pop that straight up. So we'll just go along, take all the screws out. Now if you're doing this for the first time, I suggest getting like an ice cube tray or something to hold all your screws. But I know exactly where every screw goes, so because I've taken these apart so many times. But if you're just starting, just get like an ice cube tray, and then you can just put them in sequence as you take them out. That way you can just reverse the order and put the screws back in the correct spots. Or you can take pictures as you go too, that helps. Okay, so let's see here, is that all of them? Yep. So there should be two more on the other side. Let me take the plastic panel off. So we'll set that bottom panel. So there's two more screws here, and they're different sizes, so try to keep these separate. So you got this really short guy here. That goes, this is only the spot it goes, right here. So you need to make sure you keep that separate. Alright, so spin this around. And this top cover should come off. There's little there's these little they look like weather stripping, but they're to seal up. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, these little things come off sometimes. These guys here. Just make sure you get them back on, and then I got something going on here, but I'll fix in a minute. So we'll set that to the side. Take the disk drive out. Yeah, kind of lift the disk drive up so we can undo the hard drive. Oh boy, you're in there. Okay, so there's the hard drive. Set this, and then we'll unplug the fan. Remove the power supply and the fan, hopefully in all one piece here. Sometimes the plug gets stuck. Boy, you are on there. Wow. Try to get this disk drive out of the way. Man, these plugs are tight. Come on, there we go. Wow. All right. You'll have that, but just you got a tight. See, I already broke that. Oh boy. That's okay. We'll just be very careful plugging it back in. But yeah, that happens sometimes. They'll snap off and break like that. Just got to be gentle. I didn't bend any pins, so I should be able to just plug that back in and it should be fine. But yeah, they're very fragile. Come on, fan. There we go. and stuff. And let's see here. This seal came undone. Got all twisted up. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so this board should come out now. Okay, so we'll flip it over and we'll take the clamps off. Ooh, looky there. There's that speaker where those nifty sound effects came from. I think that's cool about Xboxes. Their special editions, they put a different sound to each one when they turn on and off, and when you eject the disc. There we go. Alright, so that should be able to get the heatsink off. There it goes. It's an interesting. Haven't seen that heatsink before. And that is an interesting HDMI port. I hope I have the same one. That's weird. So it'd be 3-pin. Alright. Before we go any further, let me check my HDMI ports. I know I have ones that are 4 1Xs. Never had to use them. Oh yeah, that's the same. Get one out. Yeah, there we go. That should be the right one. Alright, so let's get our microscope in here. And I'll switch it to it in just 1 second. Alright, so what I want to do is we'll put some flux and we'll get some low melt solder, and we'll go ahead and mix in some low melt with that unleaded solder so we can get it off easier. Don't need a whole lot. Just work it back and forth on the pins. You don't need to press too hard, just kind of let it slide over the top. Like that. Let that low melt mix with that unleaded so they'll come up easier so we don't damage any pads. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the above cam, and then we're going to do the back side. You can't really see. Let's see if I can adjust the microscope so you guys can get a look at what I'm doing here. There we go. Alright, so we'll switch back. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mix in some low melt solder with these pins here. Just mixing in this low melt so it doesn't take a bunch of heat to get this off. It's just a safer way to remove it. Okay. Alright, let's switch to the above cam because I gotta put it over the side of the bench here. And let's see what we're gonna do here. Yeah, hot air. It's early in the morning. Alright, let's adjust the camera a bit. I'm sorry about the glare. My overhead light is just crazy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up till the solder melts, and I'm going to pull the port out. So I got hot air station at 475 Celsius and 75% airflow. I'm just going to work it around that area until I see the solder liquefy, and then I'll remove the port. Or it might just drop out. These boards soak up a bunch of heat, so it may take a minute or two. Still pretty solid, so. Plus it's like -5 outside today, so the dungeon is very cold. If you hear that low rum, that's my little heater in the back of me, trying to keep me from freezing. Yeah, that port is solid. So that's why these don't break. They're tanks. Of course, I don't see too many on this. Is like my first one. I've been doing this like 3 years. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting some movement. There it is. Okay, so now we'll switch back to the microscope, and then we'll solder wick those mounting holes out. Put a little bit more flux on it. If there's any leftover solder on my iron, and make sure they get mixed in good. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Coming out just wonderful. Ooh, a little bit more on that one. You know, there's always one. There's always one that doesn't want to come all the way the first try. So we'll drop a little bit of, got a little bit of low melt right there. Don't go that way. I want to wick you out of that hole. Okay, put a little bit more and then we'll put a little, ew, that looks so gross. Burnt flux. It's alright, we'll clean it up, make it nice and shiny again. Alright, hopefully that's got it. Should get it. Alright, let's clean that up a little bit. Okay, now we'll take the little wire brush. See, there we go, like it never happened. Alright, let's flip this over. Shed a little more light on the situation here, maybe, if we can. Okie dokie, so we'll put a little flux here. Up the solder with the we'll wick up the pads and then we'll re-tin them and put our port down. There we go. Give it a quick clean. We got like a little solder ball going on here. Get that out so it don't cause me any problems. There we go. Alrighty. We'll put a little bit of flux across there. Bring in our soldering iron. Just cleaning my tip real quick so we can get these tinned up here. That's pretty good. Okay. I'm going to clean it up again. Get that flux off there. Just everything seems to work better if you just clean it, use fresh flux. We're using 99%, 99.9% pure isopropyl alcohol to clean this. It's dielectric, so it's not conductive, and it's safe to use on electronics. Alright, so we're going to get our new port out. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so I'm going to push down with my tweezers, kind of hold it in place, and I'm going to put some flux on top. And get our other soldering iron out, and then we'll solder those pins in. Okay, so we're holding down with the tweezers, coming in with our big soldering iron. Push down with the tweezers and just float over the top. Back and forth. And you can do like this. Okay, and then we'll hold it for a second. And now we'll check them to see if they're solid. And if they're solid, we'll move on to the mounting pins. Good, 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 good. Alright, those are all nice and solid. Alright, let's move. Let's do the back side now. Bit of flux on that. Okay. So I'm gonna sit there first, let it sit there for a second, for a few minutes, or a few seconds. I can't talk this morning. Wow. So we're going to let that sit and heat up for a second before I try to put any solder to it. There we go. Beautiful. Now we'll put a little bit more flux and we'll hit them again so they get nice and shiny. Beautiful. Shiny, shiny joints. So we'll clean it up, clean the flux up, and then I'm going to do some tests on the pins. I'm going to check the diode readings, make sure the encoder's good, make sure I'm getting, make sure I don't have any bridges, make sure it's got a good connection, and then we'll replace the thermal paste and start to put everything back together. One more time, just to get what's left. I'm a clean freak. I like to make sure these things are nice and I get as much of that flux up as I can. Okay. So we'll flip the board back over, reposition. Alrighty. Okay, so we'll take our multimeter and put it in diode mode. Hold on one second, my leads are tangled up here. Okay, so red probe on ground, and we're going to start here with the negative probe. So let's see here. Alright, so we got a 0.69. That's ground. 0.69. 0.69. Ground. 0.69. 0.69. Ground. 0.69. 0.69, ground, 0.69. Okay, so the data lines are good. 0.65, 0.84, that's good reading. 0.65, 0.67, ground, 0.64, 0.68. Okay, those seem to be good readings. So, okay. So let's switch to the above cam and let's clean off the old thermal paste. I generally just clean it off the surface of the die, maybe a little bit on the sides. Just kind of break it up, get it off of there. Because it's really not going to hurt if you don't try to get all this out. You could end up damaging those little caps and stuff there. So I just kind of get it off of the top of the die. Don't want to mess it up, because that's where all the heat is. So okay, that's good enough. So we'll grab our heat sink. Man, that glare is something else, isn't it? There we go. I will clean it all off of the heatsink, because there's nothing really you can damage there. I mean, well, there is, but I don't see why that would happen at all. Unless you're being really silly. Damage the fins or whatever on it. Okay. So now we'll take some alcohol and we'll clean the surface best we can, get it nice and clean. Alright, and then what I like to do is kind of squish these up a bit, so when you put it back down, it'll make contact with the RAM. Try not to move them around too much, but you just want to kind of give them to poof up just a little bit. Alrighty. Bring this back in. And we'll get our MX4 thermal paste. That's way too much, but who cares? Not gonna hurt it at all. Line the holes up. Heat sink back on, and I forgot to blow the dust out of the heat sink. Hold on one second. Alrighty, so we press that down, flip it over, and then we'll reinstall our clamp. Still haven't figured out the capture card situation, so I'll just have to turn the camera when we go to test this so y'all can see it working. Yeah, so let's, where's it? Alright, I'll blow the dust out of this real quick. Clean up the fan and the power supply. This can kind of be a pain to get back in, and it's all because of the actual plug-in that doesn't want to drop back in like it's supposed to. Go ahead and get it plugged back in. So now you kind of gotta flip it over And yeah, it's not lined up at all, so I'll try to get my tweezers in, because there's two little plastic pins on there, and you gotta line them up before they'll drop in. So okay, there, I got it lined up. Trying to push it back in there. Okay, good, got it in. All right, sweet. So now we'll bring in our hard drive. Because it won't produce a picture without the hard drive. Get our sideboards. Let's get our Wi-Fi board here. Correct, right? Yep. Front panel. Alright, so let's plug in the HDMI port and the power, and we'll give her a test. See if we get a picture. Port's nice and tight. Let's bring in the power. Turn the TV on and see if we're successful here. Hey! Alright. Sweet. Big smokes. Sorry for my TV being so dirty. It is my basement after all. But we do have a picture, and we fired it like we're supposed to. So sweet. Okay, so my first Xbox One X HDMI port repair. Awesome. Let's fix my camera real quick. Hello. Okay, cool. All right, it's still booting, so let's let it boot up. Still booting. Let's see here. Blank screen. Ah, there we go. Cool. Excellent. Fully booted. Ready to go. Alright, we'll shut her off and we'll put it back together. I like my Gears of War 4 one. It screams when you eject the disc. Alright, let's switch to the back to the above cam. Go ahead and unplug it. And we'll go ahead and start putting stuff back together here. Okay, power supply's in, that's in. Disk drive. So I gotta pop the power supply back up, because I have to be very gentle to put the power back in for this, because I broke the connector. But it should be just fine. Yep, there we go. Plugged in just fine. Not gonna hurt nothing. It sucks it happened, but you know, it's not gonna hurt nothing. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some screws back in. I'll start with this front panel. The 3 gold screws. I know I used my impact to take everything apart, but I hand tighten everything back up when I put it back together. Just safer that way. That way you're not stripping anything out. Or there's less of a risk of you stripping anything out. So the side Wi-Fi panel is the 2 longer silver screws and 1 short black one. If you can get it started. There it goes. Okay, one last one. And we'll put that metal cover back on. There we go. So I'm gonna blow any dust out of this real fast. Can be a little tricky getting that back bit back in there. There it goes. Sweet. Okay, so now remember I said the little screw goes here. And the normal screw goes here. Or the same size screw that's on the other side. Oh, you don't want to turn right. Turning hard, turning hard. Where is my other one? There we go. Nope, did I? No, maybe I did. Ha! I switched them up. I switched them up. It's easy to do. That's why you don't just start. That's why you don't use your impact. That's better. That should be right now. Yep, that's right. Yep. Okay, shorter screw goes over here where the power supply is. Alright, so we'll flip it back over. And we need to grab the bottom panel. So we'll have to put that back on. So we're going to blow all the dust out of this screw. Alright. Trying to get myself situated here. On ribbon, don't be like that. Okay, I think I'm going about this wrong. I do have trouble getting these back together sometimes. Just because of this silly disk drive here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get that little ribbon back in where it's supposed to go before I seat this. Because that's your eject ribbon, I believe. Come on. Alright. come on, get back in there. There we go. Alright, close the latch. Alright, there it is. So now I can try to finagle this in, because you got to get the disk drive has these little protrusions that line up with the casing, and that's what is the big hang up a lot of times in getting this back on here, at least for me. Come on, what's going on here? Come on. Why do you do this to me every time? Gee whiz. Alright, come on. Yeah, I swear, everyone I do is the same thing. Come on. Oh my gosh. Come on. Why are you being a pain? Jeez, I'm not even close. Come on. What is the hang up? What are we hanging up on? What are we hanging up on? For real? What are we hanging up? There's nothing there. What are we hanging up on? Is it really the ribbon? Oh my gosh. Why are you not going back in? What is the deal? You need to go there. I'm sorry folks, this is just not cooperating. Why are you being such a pain? And why is the ribbon way up in there? Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, what is going on here? What is the deal? Okay. Why are you being such a pain? Ridiculous. Come on. What in the hell? Wow. Wow. It's ridiculous. Why? I don't even see anything hanging up. Why is it hanging up? Oh, for crying out loud. Come on, you bastard. Holy crap! What the freaking hell's going on with this thing? There, you freaking bastard! Dang! Now we gotta get the ribbon back in. I've never had that much trouble getting that bottom thing back on. It wants to fight. It wants to fight. That's alright, I'll give you a fight. Alright. So now that that is back lined up and back on. Stupid thing. Alright, so very carefully you want to line this back up. You can easily damage that guy too. That plugged in. Alright, so now we can start putting screws back in. Hopefully it won't fight me anymore. Right screw there. How the hell did that cut? Almost a foot off there. I'll put that back. Alright, get those screws back in, hold that down. So what was happening was the ribbon, the eject ribbon, it had little sticky pads, and they had come up, and the ribbon was getting in the way of the disk drive slots going in there. That's what was going on. So this is just going to take a minute. We'll put all the screws back in. And Xbox screws always turn hard, so it's so cold down here, my nose is running. Sometimes when you're putting this hard drive on back in, you got to use a pair of tweezers to kind of guide it, because there's pins that slide up and line up with the screw holes. So as you're tightening one side, you need to have the other side lined up so the pin comes up through. Just like that. All right. Oh, right there. I was like, where's the screw go? Oh, right here. Okay, so now clamp screws. As my bit's a little worn there. Hear it skipping. Feel it skipping. Shucky darns, I guess I'll just have to get a new set of screwdrivers. I like buying new tools. Oh, you are gonna turn hard the whole way, aren't you? Oh, you silly thing. Why? That's alright. I'll get her done. Quit chattering. There we go. Yep, definitely need a new bit. Okay. So now we put the top cover back on. Go ahead and blow the dust out real fast. And this can be a real pain in the ass too to get back on too. There it goes. Pardon me real quick. Nose is running something fierce. Whew. All right. Then put the final two screws back in it, and then we'll do some testing on it, and it should be good to go. Put that sticker back down like it never even happened. Okay. Ah! Bit stuck in there. Definitely need a new bit. Alrighty. Okay, well there we go. Successful repair of the HDMI port on a Cyberpunk Edition Series X, or not Series X, Xbox One X. Okay. Everybody have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day.